You're sitting at a table with a group of friends, and the food arrives. Immediately, 3 phones are out. The lighting shifts. Plates are rotated. Conversation pauses, not because it ended, but because it has to wait. You're the only one with your hands still. Not judging. Not superior. Just sitting there. And you feel it, that quiet friction. A strange mix of being fully present and slightly invisible. You watch them adjust the saturation of a moment you're actually living in. And for a second, a thought slips in. Are you the one who's finally present, or the one slowly disappearing? Later, you scroll. The same table. Same laughter. Same moment. Now flattened into something clean, shareable, finished. You were right there. But somehow, you experience something completely different. And as your thumb pauses on your own blank screen, a question settles in. If no one sees your life, is it still being lived? Most people will explain your silence for you. They'll say you're private, or grounded, or maybe just not into social media. And sometimes, you've told yourself the same thing. Other times, it's less flattering. You wonder if maybe your life just isn't post-worthy enough yet. So you wait until things look better, cleaner, more complete. You take a photo, type a caption, hover over the button, and something in you hesitates. Not fear exactly. Not even insecurity in the obvious sense. Just a quiet resistance you can't fully explain. So you close the app and tell yourself it's just preference. But here's what most people get wrong. This isn't about privacy. It's not about humility. And it's definitely not about being above it. Because if that were true, there wouldn't be friction. There wouldn't be that pause. You'll not experience that weight. The real reason has nothing to do with what you think. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. On the surface, it looks like a simple difference in behavior. Some people post. Some people don't. But behavior is always the last layer. Underneath it is something quieter, how you relate to your own experience. Most people today don't just live their lives. They observe them. There's a psychological shift called the observer perspective, where part of you is inside the moment, and another part is already outside it, imagining how it will look, how it will be received, how it will be remembered, what it says about you. But if you rarely post, you tend to stay in the opposite state. The experiencer perspective. You're not framing the moment. You're inside it, not translating it. Just having it. Because here's what nobody talks about. This isn't just about attention. It's about meaning. There's a well-known idea in psychology called the dopamine feedback loop. Most people associate sharing with reward. A moment doesn't fully land until it's acknowledged, seen, liked, or confirmed. But when you don't post, your brain isn't outsourcing that completion. You let moments end quietly, without needing proof. And this is where it gets strange. Because that changes something deeper than habit. It changes identity. Most people, over time, start building a version of themselves that exists in other people's minds. They maintain it, refine it, protect it, and slowly, they begin to live in alignment with that version. But if you don't consistently present a version of yourself, you don't have to maintain one. Which means your life isn't shaped around an image. It's shaped around something internal. But the deeper part is something most people never fully see. Because this isn't just about identity structure. It's about emotional risk. When you post something, you're not just sharing a moment. You're allowing it to be interpreted. Even positive attention comes with a cost. It defines you. Freezes you just slightly into something specific. And if you're someone who feels the full weight of that, posting doesn't feel light. It feels final. Like you're turning something alive into something fixed. So instead you wait. Not because your life isn't valuable, but because it feels too valuable to reduce. And this is where the shift happens. It's not that you have nothing to show. It's that no version ever feels complete enough to represent you. But here's where everything flips. Because it's easy to believe that this means you're less attached, less influenced, a lot more free. And in some ways you are. But not in the way you think. Because the person who posts a blurry photo, gets a few likes, and moves on, is comfortable being seen imperfectly. They're okay being ordinary. Okay being misunderstood, even a little. But if you don't post at all, it's not always because you don't care about perception. Sometimes it's because you care too much. Your standard for being seen is so high that nothing feels safe enough to show. So you don't just avoid posting. You avoid being defined. You stay open. Because as long as nothing is shared, nothing can be reduced. And this is the part most people miss. It can start to feel like freedom, but it's also a form of control. You're not just protecting your life from distortion, you're protecting yourself from the possibility of being seen as ordinary. So this whole time, it wasn't really about social media. It was about something quieter. The tension between being fully experienced and being imperfectly seen. There's nothing wrong with wanting to keep parts of your life for yourself. Some things lose their meaning the moment they're explained. And there is a quiet strength in not needing an audience to feel something fully. You don't have to be perfectly understood to be allowed to exist. Your life doesn't become more real when it's seen, and it doesn't become less real when it's not. But you are allowed to take up space. Even unfinished. Even misunderstood. Not everything you are needs to be captured. But you don't have to stay invisible to remain whole. If this felt uncomfortably accurate, subscribe to stay close to this kind of thinking.